County, and we have another office in Tyson's Corner area. We serve both public sector companies, agencies, public sector agencies, and we also have private sector clients. We serve utility companies like your water company, your power company. We are focused primarily on cybersecurity. That's and cloud computing. Those are two areas of expertise. We also do things like privacy and data protection. We do things like governance, risk, and compliance, and digital transformation. We are very we have experience bringing on interns. We actually have 2 interns from George Mason University currently working with us. We have placed them on 2 projects. One of them is working. They're working with a federal government and the federal government project. Another one is working on a utility company project out on the West Coast. We have federal contracting vehicles that allows us. Contracting vehicles is what the federal government uses to buy things from offerers or contractors like ourselves. We have a Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're back. You froze for just a second.
I apologize, guys.
That's okay.
Thank you. So I am very into mentoring and coaching and talking to future IT professionals. So the school can always. I'm not sure what the process is. If you want me to look over your resume, you're applying for a job, you want coaching on what's going on in the real world. Happy to do that, obviously with permission from your school and your parents. Obviously, they have to give you A-OK before that happens. And what else can I tell you? We have some fantastic projects. One of our current clients is Intelligence Community Agency. We are helping them to assess the cybersecurity posture of their data providers. They get a lot of data from commercial companies. So they've asked us to help them come up with a program, stand up a program that they can use to assess those folks that are providing data to them. I'll be happy, Grant. I'm not sure what the what our agenda is, but I'll be happy to take questions from the students. I don't want it to be a one-way kind of thing where I'm telling them stuff. Happy to answer their questions if they have any, and happy to continue to talk about my company and work as well. Whatever would be most beneficial to the students, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Mr. Aditola. We can open it up for students right now to maybe ask a little bit more specifically about. I know. Thank you for the examples you gave that the George Mason students are working on. If you wanted to expand a little bit on that, you could, but we can also open it up to some students. I know some of the names in here are familiar to me from earlier sessions. They've had some good questions earlier today, so that's fine there.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing. You could do either technical work if you're into that. You could also do cyber policy kind of work. You could also do a combination of the two. So you have, for instance, we have a project on the West Coast. We're doing data discovery. So it's a utility company that has been around for over 100 years. They have tons of data, and they're worried now that they could be attacked, and they don't know where their data, where there could be data on their network that could somebody could then kind of exfiltrate that data and kind of then owe them to ransom on that data. So we're doing what they call a data discovery project for them. So it's a combination of both policy related, helping them to write policies, helping them to write procedures, and then also on the back end of that, I have another team. I have another team that is doing a data discovery using Informatica tool, a data discovery tool, to help scan all their network to see where data, when I say data, sensitive data, PII, PHI may reside. So that's an example of a project we're working on that allows you to use both your critical thinking skills and also help you to own your technical skills as well. I think it was a question about what do we do. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, but happy to talk about that again. We do cybersecurity. We do digital transformation. We do cloud consulting. We do privacy and data protection. So we're on the cyber side of things. And we do both policy and we do technical consulting as well. I think there's another question about analytics. Our analytics is really based on the cyber side. So it's user behavior analytics, trying to figure out what a user is doing and helping that from a cybersecurity standpoint. So that's primarily what we do on an analytics standpoint.
Thank you for that. One other question in the chat was about the application process for the internship. And students, just so you know, that happens after this whole internship fair. So really, Mr. Adutola and the other breakout sessions are more for you to just understand what's available and what's out there. So this is so that you can be the most informed when afterwards they'll have the forms through that you'll receive through Mrs. Lee, Christina Lee, who's been the main contact, and then you'll be able to narrow down like who you're most interested in. So really, these are great questions, asking a little bit more about the analytics, the specifics. This is great. This is the whole point of this. So thank you both for engagement on your end, Mr. Adutola, and for students too. So now's your time to ask those questions. And Abisha asked about rising juniors. Yes, typically we kind of look for the 16 years or older piece in terms of students, at least on the LCPS end. And yes, Kenyon, to answer your question, will be through email and then a survey style of kind of you being able to pick and choose who might you be more interested in of the different people that you've learned from today. I hope that helps. Let me ask actually Mr. Adutola, who may have just some may have some overall thoughts on this, but I can also speak to it a little bit more. Abisha, in terms of was asking what recommended classes do you suggest they take in order to better prepare yourselves. Do you have more of a general answer to that, possibly, Mr. Adutola?
Yeah, it really depends on what the student is aiming for. Are you looking to go into policy on a cyber standpoint? Because IT is so broad. IT, I always compare with medicine. There's so many areas you could go into. So if I just tell you throw some classes out and you're not a technical person, or you want to focus on maybe cybersecurity, doing pen testing and things like that, that may not be ideal for you. Maybe you want to go into cloud security. Maybe you're interested in cloud. That may be a good thing. Like for actually a lot of vendors, I believe AWS, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, and Microsoft, they have a ton of free training for students that allows you don't have to pay for it, that you can actually take some classes and start to play around. If you're on the technical side of things, there's a ton of things out there that will be beneficial. And happy to send links to, if you guys have questions, if you pass it through Christina or Grant or Mr. Schaefer, I'll be happy to send you links on that through your school as well. If you have any specific questions, they have my email, they have my contact.
That's great, Mr. Adutola. Also, just want to give your hey, Ms. Dawson.
I'm doing well. I'm trying to figure out if I need to be applying for some of these jobs.
No, the internships. I think we won't be able to afford you.
Students, I just want to remind you of your internal LCPS resources as well. You have your school counseling office that's very familiar with the program of studies and specifically at your school, what classes you have to offer. I know that some of you are in the academies of Loudon or interested in doing that at some point. Those offer some other courses for you too. And then I know that Mr. Aditola's answer for you is actually pretty common from what I hear of doing these sessions for almost a year now, is that really they're looking for students who are pretty well rounded. At this age, they're not maybe looking for specific courses or classes that you've been able to take. You're always welcome to put in your resume any sort of kind of non LCPS type classes or certificates that you've been able to get. That's great. But I think some of what Mr. Ardutola was saying and some others is that they're just really looking for that willingness to learn and being open to growth and expansion. So I just wanted to make sure that you all know that you have some internal LCPS resources as well.
That is very correct. Hey, Grant, is there any noise coming from my end, or is it?
No, you're okay.
Okay,
It
cool.
may be someone is not muted, but I've been trying
Oh,
to kind of monitor that. But I'm okay on my end.
okay, cool, no problem. Yeah, so but you're very right. We're just looking for people that are they have curious learners, people that want to learn new things, that are eager to improve themselves, self-starters, and that's what. And then a lot of students are like that. They're very. I mean, some of our interns, current interns, when we have calls with clients, they ask questions. They after the call, they'll email me, and they just want to learn. They make you even think in a direction that you are not thinking. So it's always a pleasure. It's a win-win thing for us. So please continue to be, study hard and be curious. And you're making us better. You're making us better companies. Your presence makes us better as interns. Your presence as interns.
Mr. Ardutola, can you say you mentioned your George Mason interns? Is this something that you regularly try to have college level interns, or how long have you been working with
Yes.
interns in general?
Yes, we've had interns almost every year for the last 4 or 5 years. But there's a program that the Commonwealth, I think it's called the Commonwealth Cybersecurity. I have to get the name for you. There's a particular program that we are working with right now. They sent us about 70 students, and we looked at them and we picked 2. And I'm sure the other 68 are probably working with other companies in the Commonwealth as well. It's sponsored by the Commonwealth, I think the Virginia Commonwealth. I have to check the name of the program. There's some program going on where they're trying to expose students that are interested in cybersecurity to cyber companies like ourselves.
Well,
I'm
thank
not
you.
sure if I answered your question, Mr. Schaefer, but happy to clarify further if I didn't answer it very well.
No, you did, and I think it is helpful for these students to hear about how you're interested in creating that pipeline and young talent. And speaking of that, we had someone in the chat ask about a specific certification.
Yeah.
What skill sets would like knowing? Linux, would that be nice? Would comp TIAA plus certification, any of those sound familiar to you in
Yes,
terms
it
of
does. It does.
important?
They're just they're I'll call them entry level certifications. So absolutely, anything you can use to differentiate yourself, anything you can use to tell an employer that I'm a serious person. I'm very interested in improving myself. I'm a self-starter. Look at what I've done already. So they know they're getting someone that is going to come in there and get things going. So absolutely, yeah. If you can get certifications, absolutely, I would say go for it. But I'll also encourage them that everything seems to be moving to the cloud right now. You can't ignore the cloud. So I would advise that anything you're doing, keep cloud technology in mind, because everything appears to be moving to the cloud.
Thank you for that. We had a couple students ask about what would be some common duties that an intern would be responsible for or work with. Maybe this relates to some of the cloud work
Yeah.
you were just speaking to.
So the bunch of things. The GMU students, we take them to meetings. We have them. They listen to what we're talking, things they're talking about. And when there is like a task, like, oh, we're going to do interview questions, I ask them to do a first draft for me. It doesn't have to be. I just want to challenge them. And when they do that, they send it to the team or someone on my team. That person looks at it and works with them to improve it, help them to understand critical thinking skills. Then another opportunity could be we're doing a data discovery project with a client on the West Coast. So I have a technical lead there. I have somebody from GMU, George Mason, working with technical lead. So there are tasks that they will give that person. Hey, can you write this code? Can you write a SQL statement, for instance? So we're teaching them. We're kind of putting them in a swimming pool, but making sure that they're in the kids area first and slowly leading them to somewhere where they can swim on their own. I'm trying to use an analogy here. So we won't throw in the deep end. We'll give you technical tasks. We'll give you policy-related tasks and let you try. Because the way you can stretch yourself is to try something. Then when we see where you are, we'll work with you to make it better. Then next time when we give you that assignment again, you're not going to be starting from where you were before. You're going to go, you would have learned some new things, and you'll be doing, and that's how your skills will be improving. You'll be owning your skills in various ways. So you have opportunity to own your technical skills. You have an opportunity to own your critical thinking skills, writing policies, procedures, and standards, and things like that on the cyber side.
I like that. I think that might be helpful for students to know that they'll be with some peers that just are a little bit older at first, and you might not be jumping right into all adults at 10 plus more years. That might be helpful for some students to know that. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, Mr. Schiffer.
We had another question in the chat about the background, more science-based versus computer science-based. Again, do you have any preference or advice on that, Mr. Adutola?
Yeah, we typically prefer the science-based folks, but in cybersecurity, what we found out is that there are people that come in from different backgrounds. So we'll talk to every candidate, but you have to be interested, right? Because if you're coming from a non-science background, there's some work you have to do on your own, on your time, to kind of catch up. But one thing is you have to be determined, you have to be interested, and then you have to do the work to kind of catch up if you're interested in moving to this area. But cyber is not only for technical people alone. There's a lot of work around cyber that is not necessarily technical. And we do have, like some of my colleagues on some projects are psychologists. So there's a broad range of folks in the cyber industry space, the cybersecurity industry space. I hope that is helpful to that particular person that asked that question.
Yeah, thank you. Shivani was asking in the chat, does an AWS cloud certification provide enough knowledge to work with the cloud, or is there more or more that they can do or they can present with when they are interested in an internship?
So the certification may get you into the door, but you have to practice. You have to do hands-on lab exercises to be good, because certification just tells me that you know what cloud is about. Because most likely you probably have the entry-level certification, maybe CCP, for instance. So all it tells me is that you know what cloud is about, but it doesn't tell me that if I throw you to a client, you will be ready to work on your own independently. You could be an independent contributor. You may need to work with a senior person that will continue to own your skills, but it's a good thing. Go for it, because you're telling the employer that you have the baseline knowledge.
Thank you for that. Any other certifications that you would recommend that was also asked in the chat?
Yes, I would recommend all the AWS certifications, the Google Cloud, depending on which. Microsoft also has cloud, Azure certifications will be great for you. Then the Security Plus, if you're going on the cyber security lane, there are a lot of security certifications you could start with. Again, go for the entry level. But the best thing I would say is don't focus on certifications alone. Make sure you're doing the lab work. I apologize for that. Let me just make sure you're doing the lab exercises, and then as soon as you get a chance to get into the workplace, spend a lot of time doing the actual practical work of. You can read about migration, but nothing is like actually doing the migration itself. Nothing compares to actually doing it itself. So reading stuff, it's one thing. Being there, doing the thing, writing the code yourself, getting stuff done, it's another thing. So it's a step above just reading about it.
Thank you.
Sure. You're welcome.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback in the chat there. Let's see. I'm going back through the chat to see if I missed anyone. We talked about kind of some broad skill sets, some specific cloud-based qualifications or certificates that people could do. Let's see. Mr. Aditola was able to talk in general about sort of what would daily life be like, and kind of who would you be around and working with. Let's see. Havish was asking about as a freshman. I'm going to need to check on that. I know I'll be able to get back to you on that. And some of the information that you'll receive at the conclusion of the internship fair will have more of that rundown of being able to rank your top choices and what you're most interested in, and then also any sort of requirements there. So that would be if to be able to look at like 16 years or older, or how old you might need to be. So, but thank you for being interested, especially as a ninth grader. I'm glad you're here and you're getting a chance to have what's called also as an informational interview with Mr. Adutola and learning about the career, the industry.
That's very brave. I don't think many ninth graders have that on their mind right now. So I'm super impressed that you're already thinking this way. Very impressive. So and for the young kids, there's a lot on YouTube you can learn. When I say that, I mean that like I apologize. This is Best Buy. I'm not sure what to do. They just won't stop calling me. So there's a lot you can learn on YouTube. I tell even the George Mason interns to type in topics that you're interested in. There are tons of people on AWS. There's just a lot of information that I wish were there when I was your age, because there's a lot you can learn on any topic in the cyberspace, on any topic on cloud, any topic on analytics, and it has the full range from entry-level information, kind of knowledge, to advanced mid-level to advanced level. And I still use YouTube myself, so there's a lot to learn there.
Kenyon had a question about sources or any sort of links or resources that you might provide to the group for further reading. I hope I read that right, Kenyon.
I would suggest the vendors like AWS, like I said. If you're interested in penetration testing, Sentinel and CloudStrike and Mandiant, all those guys have a ton of documentation. They do webinars you can attend, and sometimes what I do, sometimes even register for those webinars. If you're not able to attend those webinars, guess what? They email the video to you. So because you cannot attend the webinar, doesn't mean you shouldn't register for it. Because what they do these days is that they email the video to you that you can look at your own convenience. So I mean the virtual webinars. So you're very welcome, Gayatri. So keep that in mind. I would rely primarily on the vendors. Then apart from the vendors, then you can start looking at YouTube. Just type in what topic interests you. A lot of very smart people, a lot of very experts, subject matter experts in different areas, do put stuff out there on YouTube. There's a guy in Microsoft, everything about Microsoft Cloud. I even follow him. There are folks on Google Cloud, a ton of people that have channels on YouTube where they've amassed thousands of followers. That's the kind of thing you want to be doing, and and then you, before you know what's happening, you're owning your skills, you're practicing, you're doing lab work, and then before you know what's happening, you're ready for the more than ready for the workplace, and you're ready to be an individual contributor. That should be your goal, where you are able to do stuff on your own when they give you a task. Because when you join us, if you do internship, you'll be working with someone who is guiding you. If you do come to us, then after a while, we start to expect you to move to the level where you're an individual contributor. You're able to get a task, start from the end, and complete it. Working within the team, but you're able to get a task done. But that will happen over time as you continue to learn from our team players here, our folks here, technical leads, senior interns who've been here for a while, things like that.
Thank you for that. Also, I wanted to touch on Henry's question. He asked if are you going to put high school internship opportunities on your website in the future? Just for the record, though, and not so that you don't feel like you're put on the spot, Mr. Adutola.
No, you're fine. No,
yeah.
It's okay. It's a legit question. So it makes perfect sense. We haven't done that in the past because we get emails all the time from folks saying, "Do we want either from Loudoun County or town of Leesburg asking us if we want interns?" So we have not had to reach out to look for interns. Often we get opportunities like this, but it's a great idea. Maybe we should start doing that from time, going forward. But we haven't done that in the past.
Yeah, that was a good question, Henry, and I appreciate your answer too, because I know this is all sort of new somewhat to the this is our second year of offering internships through the computer science department, and computer science is still growing, and we're still integrating it into all K through 12 levels. So the internship component is still kind of a novelty, but definitely something that we're looking to expand on. And I would say that with interest from Mr. Adutola and Silvetus, and then also from the number of students that are just on this call, I think this speaks to the interest and the need. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to have some more more of a streamlined process.
Absolutely. And Mr. Schaefer, I look forward to working with you all and the team. You guys, thanks for your public service. It's a win-win situation, kind of deal, in my view. The students benefit, we benefit, the community benefits. So we are totally committed to working with LCPS in this program.
Yes, and likewise, it's mutual. So thank you, Mr. Adutola. Nice to meet you and learn a little bit about Solvitur, and thank you, students, for your engagement and a lot of good questions in the host piece. And yeah, thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Good talking to you all. Thank you all for your time. Good luck with everything, guys. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.